Hey guys, Useless here, and Disney is trying something pretty interesting. They are actually going to be dropping Mulan on Disney Plus for $30. When paying the $30, you're essentially going to be buying early access to the movie. It's not going to be like a rental where, you pay the fee and then you get like 48 hours to watch it. You're gonna pay the fee and then you'll be able to watch Mulan forever, basically, or as long as you keep the service. I assume that it'll be behind this paywall for like around the same amount of time that it would have been in its theatrical run. And it also will be opening in some theaters that are actually open and that are in markets where Disney Plus isn't available. Now, last week I talked about Warner Brothers and Tenet. Tenet is opening on August 26th and will be slowly releasing in other markets over the course of a couple of weeks. Warner Brothers is essentially saying, F it, we're just putting it wherever we can. Mulan is being put on Disney Plus where it can essentially have a global day and date release um, the same weekend that Tenet is opening in the US. So these are obviously very different release strategies. Disney is doing something very different, something new to just see if this works, and Tenet is basically trying to scrounge up whatever money they can out of the regular theatrical release. In my other video, I said that these movies simply need to come out. These studios can't just sit on these massive tentpole films without seeing returns on them. So they had to do something. And this is going to be really interesting to watch because how these movies do, these two specific movies, Tenet and Mulan, how they end up doing is potentially going to show us how movies are going to be released. Not just during this pandemic, but also potentially even after things return to normal. However, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that Disney is positioning Mulan to really have the best chance at making this release strategy work. Now, I actually don't think that $30 is an unreasonable fee. I know it's kind of a tough sell. I've seen a ton of people complaining about, how it's way too much money, or I've seen people say, well, I already pay for Disney Plus. You're going to make me pay more? But when you think about it and you understand how the movie business works, you can't just put Mulan onto Disney Plus. The movie was made and funded with the expectation of seeing box office returns. It's just like way too hard to justify spending that amount of money on just subscription fees. But you also can't just charge the regular $10 to $15 that you would in a theater. That's mainly because friends and families are gonna get together to watch Mulan. Whether they should or shouldn't is another conversation, but I think we all know that people are gonna get together to watch it. And when you go as a group to watch a movie at a theater, you all have to pay for your tickets individually. When you all get together to watch a movie at home, you only have to pay the fee once, and then you all just watch it on your TV. So I know people are freaking out about the price, but you need to remember that this is meant to be a substitute for theatrical revenue. If this is going to be a viable theater alternative, then the price has to be steep. Disney has no way to charge people individually. What I think is a mistake, however, is that Disney is only allowing people who are already subscribed to Disney Plus rent the movie or get the early access to the movie or whatever. So if you aren't subscribed to Disney Plus, then Mulan is actually going to cost you $37 because you're going to have to buy a subscription to then get the option to buy the early access. And I mean, I guess you could just get the free trial, but if they want to do this with more movies, then at some point, you're probably gonna have to, buy the subscription to then buy the early access. And that to me is just a mistake. If you want to force people to go to your service to get the movie, that's understandable. Then you don't have to split your revenue with anybody else. But give people the option to get the movie separately. That's because if you want to make as much money as you would in a theatrical run, then at least I think you need to get as many people as possible to buy this early access for the movie. I get that they're also seeing this, I assume, as a way to raise Disney Plus subscriptions, but I don't think that, cannibalizing Mulan and potentially shutting down any prospects of doing this with any other movies is the way to go about that. And I also don't know if Mulan is really enough of a draw that's gonna get a massive influx of people subscribing to Disney Plus. That would make this move, and that would make the losses that you're gonna get on Mulan worth it. And I do see the problem that you might run into, because how exactly do you balance it? Because when you get the early access to Mulan, you're basically just getting you're getting it in your regular Disney Plus queue early. That's why it's in early access. And if you're not subscribed to Disney Plus, then how exactly does that work? I think it would be fair if you don't have a Disney Plus subscription, but you buy the early access to Mulan. Maybe that $30 is essentially getting you. Maybe it'll just give you access to the movie up until everybody else gets it. I don't know, because at that point you're paying the $30 for that access to Mulan, but after that window is closed, then your subscription fee is really what's paying for Mulan at that point. So I I think that that could be a thing that they can do. Basically, I just don't think that they should be limiting the number of people that can pay money to see Mulan, because, like I said before, they need as many people as possible paying for this early access to even have a chance of making as much money as they would in a theatrical run. But anyways, let's actually talk about the possibilities here. What effects on the larger film industry could this potentially have? Because believe me, studio executives are going to be looking very closely at how Mulan does. If Mulan flops, say it makes $100 million, then I don't think we'll see much of anything come from it. Studios will likely conclude that streaming isn't viable, and that if a movie like Mulan can't make it, then probably our movies won't be able to do it either. But if it breaks even at $300 million, if it gets to $500 million, then I think we very well could see some studios take a shot at it. And now, I don't think that this is likely, but if Mulan makes $800 million, if it can get to $1 billion, then I think we see the floodgates open. I think we see Black Widow get put out like this. I think we see Sony maybe put No Time to Die out like this. I think that we will see many more movies come out with a similar release strategy. And listen, if we see returns on those movies that are comparable to theatrical runs, then that could very well spell the death of movie theaters. Studios would love nothing more than to stop sharing their revenue with movie theaters. Studios would love nothing more than to stop sharing their revenue with theater chains. We're already seeing Universal ruffle feathers and try and squirm their way out of like specific deals that they have with theater chains to get their movies on VOD early. So studios are definitely going to be looking at Mulan. Up until now, they've had no choice but to work with them, but if they realize that they don't need them and that streaming is a viable alternative, believe me, they will not hesitate to adapt. So, yeah, this is either going to be one of the most important moments in the history of film, or it'll be a footnote. I'll be honest, I have no idea if this is gonna work. I mean, there's just really no precedent for this. I'll be honest, I have no idea if this is gonna work. We've seen movies like Scoob and Trolls World Tour come out on straight to VOD, and they don't appear to have blown up the digital box office. I don't know what it's called, but something like Mulan, we'll see if a tentpole movie like this can do it. I'd love to see Disney experiment with Black Widow, see what that can do. Like movies that, have a passionate fan base. I would really like to see what movies like that can do. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you going to be watching Mulan and paying the $30? Can this actually work and be a viable alternative to theatrical releases? I want to hear what you think. Subscribe to see new videos every Friday and Monday, and bye.